Hey everybody, welcome to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com and here on my YouTube channel. And this time out, we're going to take a look at another one of the new plugins from Presonus as part of their Fat Channel XT plugin. This is the Comp 160, which looks very familiar and similar to the DBX 160 VCA style compressor. We're going to take a listen to that on a few different sound sources and give you a chance to hear what it sounds like. And so if you are a Studio One user or if you have a Series 3 Studio Live mixer, you can own this plugin as well as the rest of the compressors in the plugin package. If you go out to Presonus.com and check out their plugin packages, this is one of those plugins. So before we listen to the Comp 160, if you like what you see in this video, hit that subscribe button and also go over to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com, sign up for my VIP email list right on the homepage, and you're going to get $110 worth of mixing training courses absolutely free just for being a VIP member. Not to mention, you're going to get special discounts on all my other training courses and all other goodies and freebies and so on and so forth. So head on over to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com. Now let's jump into Studio One and let's take a look at this Comp 160. So the Comp 160 is an emulation of the DBX 160 compressor. Very famous hardware compressor, came out around 1970, 1971. Kind of a staple in a lot of large format studios. A DBX 160 is just like having a LA2A or an 1176. Every studio had one. And this is a great sounding compressor. Sounds a lot different than things like the LA2A and like the Fairchild and even some of the SSL and Neve style compressors that we looked at in some earlier videos. And that's what makes this great, because it's got a different flavor, different sound to it, simple compressor to use. So what I have here is I have the same track I've been using for all these demos, so you can kind of compare apples to apples. We're looking at a funk track by the band Kung Fu, and the name of the song is Daddy D. Always forget that. Daddy D. Great song, funk track. This is an unmixed song. No plugins on the mix anywhere except for on the buses, and we're listening to this on the master bus here. So let's take a little listen. I'm going to shut this off so you can kind of hear what we're dealing with here musically. Here we go. Okay, completely unmixed track. I like to do these demonstrations on raw audio so you can hear the effect of the plugin without any other processing going on in the background. So, the Comp 160. Let's walk through the layout of the plugin, and then we'll turn it on and off the master bus and can hear what it's doing to our master bus. So over here on the right-hand side, we have our threshold. The more you turn it counterclockwise, the more compression you're going to get. You have these two LEDs that'll show you, give you a visual based on the signal going in when, in fact, when you turn back the threshold, when in fact the signal is being compressed. When it crosses the threshold, it'll light up red above, and or below the threshold, and then when it's not compressing, it'll be above the threshold. Okay, we have our compression ratio here, everything from 1 to 1 to infinity. On the master bus, we're going to put it about a 2 to 1 ratio, and then we have our makeup gain. So there's no attack and there's no release setting. It's kind of like preset depending on how much signal you're pushing into the compressor. Okay, so it's real simple to use. And then down here we have this key filter, which is unique to the Presonus plugins, which is kind of like a low cut filter. So if you don't want the real low end to kind of over trigger the compressor, you can always dial that up, and that's always good on, say, a master bus and even some drums and stuff to get some of that low end rumble, not overworking the compressor. So let's just turn on this little sample again here. We'll play back some music, and I'll just click it on here. We're set to a 2 to 1 ratio, and let's see how much compression we're getting here. So here we go. So sweet. Daddy D's gonna bring you up. Daddy D's gonna sit you down. Daddy D's gonna bring you up, yeah. Daddy D's gonna sit you down. Sing it for me, baby. Daddy D's gonna bring you up, yeah. So we're getting about 4 dB, maybe 5 dB of compression almost. And as you can see, the lights, when we're above when we're actually above and we're actually compressing, you'll see this turn red, and when we're below the threshold, it'll be yellow. Daddy's gonna sit you down, yeah. Daddy's gonna bring you up. So if I turn it all the way down, you'll see we're below, meaning that we're not compressing at all. Yeah. Daddy's gonna sit you down. Okay, so when you're listening to this, hopefully you're listening to this on a good set of studio monitors or on some good headphones here. Anything other than that, you're going to have a hard time hearing these examples. Now, the thing about the DBX 160, or the Comp 160 in this case, and I've had this experience with all of and I have the Universal Audio version, the Waves version. I've listened to them all, and so I know what this compressor sounds like, and this sounds very true to the compressor. One of the things that I notice about this compressor when I use it, especially on a master bus, this is probably not the place you would put this compressor, but I just wanted to let you listen to it on the master bus, is you don't have to push the compressor very hard before you get that pumping and breathing effect. It's a very sensitive compressor in that respect. Is that, you want to be really subtle with this, because if you put too much compression, you're going to hear that compression. Now, if that's something you're going for, really cool. Where as opposed to like the SSLs or the Neve styles, you could be a little bit more aggressive with that. You can be doing 3 to 5 dB of compression, and it's a lot more subtle and adds a lot more tone as opposed to the pumping and breathing kind of vibe. Follow me? So that's what we get here with the Comp 160. It's before. So I find right around 3 dB of compression on a master bus is kind of the sweet spot where you don't get that over compressed kind of a sound, but it adds a nice amount of glue to it to kind of tighten everything up, which is great. So that's what it does on the master bus. So again, I'll shut up here and I'll cycle it on and off. Just keep your eye on the power button. You'll hear the before and after. Okay, so we'll start with it off, and then we'll bring it in, and then we'll turn it on and off. So sweet. Daddy's gonna bring you up. Daddy's gonna sit you down. Daddy's gonna bring you up, yeah. Daddy's gonna sit you down. Sing it for me, baby. Daddy's gonna bring you up, yeah. Daddy's gonna sit you down, yeah. Daddy's gonna bring you up, yeah. Daddy's gonna sit you down. Okay, so that's on a master bus there. Let's take a listen to it on, let's just say, a drum bus, and see what we got kind of going on there for just drums. So just our drum bus here. And we'll take it off the master bus. We'll shut it off. Okay, so we're at about a 4-to-1 ratio here. Going to dial that back a little bit, maybe about 3-to-1. And let's take a listen here. This compressor, by the way, on a drum bus, if you're using it as like a parallel compression track where you're trying to over compress the drums, this is a great compressor for that. I'm exaggerating it so you can hear the difference, but if you want like one of those smash tracks or crush tracks, this is a great compressor for that on drums. Okay, on just a singular drum bus, it's not doing parallel compression. That's not exactly what I'm going for, but you can hear what it does. So I'm going to dial back the output gain a little bit and also the threshold. It's before, so level match the plugin. Much more suiting for a drum bus as opposed to a master bus. Okay, once you start having a bunch of these kinds of compressors, especially, I'm talking to the people that are new out there that maybe you're not into so much analog style plugin emulations at this point. When you start getting into these and you start finding that all these compressors have a different sound to them, and some work better on certain elements of the mix than others. And if you go back and watch the other videos that I'm doing on these all these different compressors for the Fat Channel XT, You'll hear that some compressors sound wonderful on a master bus, where other ones, maybe that's not the best choice. In this case, I wouldn't use a Comp 160 on a master bus. It just doesn't sound right. I don't like the pumping and breathing effect so much, but on a drum bus, it tends to be a lot more well suited, in my opinion. It's very subjective. There are no right or wrongs. But the beauty of having all these different types of compressors, you see a whole list of them here in the Fat channel that we're going to do videos on every single one of them. They all sound different. They all react different to the source material, and therefore they all have different tones, different flavors, and different ways they react. And therefore you can pick and choose what works best for you. So enough said. That's the drum bus. Let's go ahead and listen to it on our bass bus now, shall we? I'll turn down our drums a little so you can hear this better. As before. Really rounds out the bottom end really nice. Tames the transient so you don't have those singular notes kind of poking through too much. It sounds nice and smooth. The hardware version of this compressor was well known to be used on bass guitar. A lot of engineers use it on bass. Sounds really good on bass. Really like what it does there. So that's on our bass guitar. If we come on over to, let's do keyboards this time. We have a Hammond organ somewhere playing in here. There we go. Let it loop around again. Tends to bring out the high end of the keyboard a little bit more, which is great. Again, sounds nice and smooth. Very nice sounding compressor here. And again, real simple compressor to use. But again, you notice we're not compressing very much. As I said, this compressor I would use in small doses if I was using several of them on a mix. Okay, so there's three sound sources. Now we have our good, we may as well look at electric guitar. We'll take a look at electric guitar here and see what it does here. Makes that kind of rhythmic, kind of chicka-chicka playing nice and consistent sounding. You don't lose any of the notes. It works out really well. So that's what it sounds like on electric guitar. Sounds great. Sounds just like the Universal Audio one and the Waves one as well. Has the same kind of characteristics. Sounds very, very similar to me. They did a nice job modeling this. It sounds really good. Now what I'd like to do is play back that same section of music, and now I'm just going to turn all of the compressors on and off at the same time. Let me just take a look at the master bus again. And the key filter here on the master bus, I'm taking out around 50 hertz or so we don't have the real low end triggering the compressor. So now that we got that kind of set, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shut all the plugins off just with using this power button up here at the top left-hand corner of the mixer. I can just turn everything on and off all at once just so we can hear what the cumulative effect of all 4 of these instances of the Comp 160 is doing. Okay, so we'll start with it on, and then just keep your eye on the power button. I will turn them on all, cycle them on and off. So here we go. That's before. Okay, really enhances the sound quite nicely, adds a little bit of glue, a little bit of tightness around the bottom, and it also brings out some of the top end a little bit, but it doesn't get harsh. But again, my opinion with this particular compressor, not this particular model of it, any DB160 style compressor that I've used, I've always found that if you compress too much, you're really going to hear the compressor working. And if that's what you're going for, this is great. Love this on crushed drum tracks, love it on crushed bass tracks, as well as crush or parallel vocal tracks. So when I use this compressor or this style of compressor, I tend to use it on parallel tracks more than anything else, because I like to over compress it, get that kind of breathing and pumping effect, and then tucking those tracks in underneath the normal buses and volume, so it just gives the track a little more life. I have an entire course on my website, Home Recording Made Easy, called The Power of Parallel Compression. You should go check out that 60-minute training course where I talk about this in great detail. But this is a great compressor for that. It's a great compressor overall, but for parallel tracks, I really do enjoy it a lot. And again, I think Presonus, again, this is, I think, the 3rd or 4th plugin I've looked at in this new Fat Fit Channel collection. And I got to say, again, the modeling that they have done is very accurate to the hardware, certainly, and then the other companies that make this same compressor. Sounds very similar, and I know those compressors very well and those plugins very well because I've used them for years, and I have a really critical ear, and this sounds just like it. So I think, again, they did a great job. It's a different flavor of compressor than the other ones in the collection, and that's the beauty of it. It's not just all the compressors sound the same. Oh, no, they don't all sound the same. This is a great compressor to have in your toolkit. So I hope you found this video helpful. Again, go out to Presonus.com, check out all their plugin collection packages, and like I said early on, not only do you get to use this in Studio One, but if you have a Series 3 Studio Live mixer, you can use it there as well. One price, use it in both places, and that's a huge benefit to this. And again, hats off to Presonus for diving into the analog style plugin emulations. They've done a great job so far. I haven't heard a bad one in the bunch, but we're not through all the plugins yet. Come back for the next video, and we're going to take a look at the rest of this collection, and let's see if they've hit home runs on every one of them, or is there maybe not so good one in the bunch? We're going to find out. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for your time, and take care.